Tessa Thompson.
The only reason to see Men in Black 2, or whatever it is.
I love her.
Congratulations on being at this point, finally.
Are we back?
Is that such a...
It's 10 seconds. You can't stay on for 10 seconds? Good Lord, man. You may have a problem. Take you to some kind of AA or something.
Alright. Boom.
Hi, we're back. Are we live
We
again?
should be back.
Hello, we're back. And nobody's watching.
Well, it's got to reload everything. So.
Oh, okay. Should we wait a couple seconds? Oh, reset our elapsed time. I was watching that. We're in like 45 minutes already.
It was 50 minutes.
Good Lord.
Well, I think that's why it might have stopped, because we were already at an hour.
It stops at an hour?
I think it might, yeah.
52 minutes.
Well, oh, okay. Apparently we're back. Hello, Nicole. Thank you for watching again.
Yo.
Not like she has a choice. You have a choice. You don't have to watch this, baby. I know what you're doing right now. Take time doing that. You're fine. Anyway, we're back. So we left off with Iron Man meeting up with them. They know how to go to the back to the future. Okay. Anyway, so now we get the Thor part, correct? Or did we miss anything in between this? Because that's when he's like, we need a team, and they go.
Yeah.
Okay, now right
It's
here.
like, we need to work on a
Robert
full
Downey
team,
Jr.
yeah.
comes and tells him that he figured everything out.
Yeah, and they cover that. We covered that part, right? And then they go get Thor. They need a team. Now, here's what bothers me the most. At no point during this "we need a team" do they go and call Captain Marvel, who we've already seen they have direct contact to, because they can call her and get her ass down here to help. Not one time does anybody
Actually,
go,
they
hey, she's
already
the
talked
strongest
to her.
person. Let's get her ass down here.
They already
They already
talked
talked to her, yeah.
Yeah, they talked to her before the plan. They didn't talk to her when he got the plan.
She already said she wasn't going to help them because she was trying to take care of all
But
the
that
other
was
plans.
before they got the plan. They never once called her and told her about the plan, saying, we can get to the quantum realm, we can go back in time, we can get the stones. Nobody once called her.
Yeah, but I feel like they didn't need her. What would they need her
Yeah,
for?
what would they need her for?
You're going back into time, in danger.
Yeah,
You-
but they're
you have
not
the
fighting
strongest
anything.
person.
Yeah.
They're not
Well, why
fighting.
do they need the strongest person?
Then
if
why
they're
did
not?
Captain America bring the shield? Why does Thor bring his hammer? Why
Well,
does Iron Man bring his
he
suit?
doesn't
Why
bring
does
his hammer,
War
he goes
Machine?
back in time
He
and
goes
gets his
back and
hammer.
gets. You're right. But why does War Machine bring his suit? Why does Iron Man bring his suit? Like, why do they have all the stuff loaded up to fight if they're not fighting? See, this is the biggest thing that bugged me.
Why
is
you need her though? You don't really need her to go back and get stones. Though.
You don't think you need her to
Well,
build a
not only
team?
that, but she's the only person that could go to any other planet in the universe, and they're all dealing with the half.
That's what I was
the
gonna
half
say.
life
She
forms at the
made
same
it pretty
time.
clear, like, look, y'all are taking care of it here. I gotta go take care of everything else.
Right.
So you guys do you. I'm gonna do me, and then
So you think calling her and giving her the plan, which is like a no-go from the start, like they was like, hey, let's not even bug her because she's
no
doing
man.
her
I mean,
50%
I don't think people really thought she was gonna be that big a part in the movie though. 'Cause she's just too powerful. What are you gonna? What is she like? Gabe said, what is she gonna do? What is she gonna
She's
do?
gonna fly and get
Anything.
the stones and then come back.
Yeah,
I
like-
don't.
anything. At least be there.
Okay, like I
Maybe
mean, I
it's
guess like I kind of get a little bit of what you're saying, why they wouldn't tell her, but also it wouldn't have made sense because of where they went back in time.
Mm-hmm.
They went back to all the other like movies that they had.
Yeah, which
So,
is
like,
involved in.
Her being there would have. I don't really feel like it was a necessity to have her
Yeah,
in those.
it would have been
scenes.
weird to have her in those
Um,
scenes. I think.
But again, I feel like because of the whole, because remember he did just did kill 50% of the population in the world or
Yeah, it
in
was
the,
the
Earth.
universe. Yeah,
He
it's
did
the
in
whole
the
entire
universe. So she's the only person who could go into space and deal with all those other crises.
I get that. Okay, so I get your
So-
point. So let me bring up this point. Then why did we bring Rocket Raccoon? Why did he have to go back? He wasn't in none of those movies. Did you guys bring up the point
No,
she
but
wasn't
he's
in that?
also a master thief,
Yeah.
and their whole thing is stealing the stones. So
Well,
now
one of
we're
the big
now
things
we're
was the-
moving super far. Ahead.
Yeah, no,
We're talking about
we're
Thor.
jumping. Sorry, I just wanted to touch base that nobody calls Cat Marvel. Anyway, so okay, Adrian, you want to touch?
Well,
you want to cover
hold
the
on.
Thor thing?
Before we start that, like, he didn't go into space to help Captain Marvel because she could go to different universes or different planets in like an instant.
Yeah.
He has to fly there. 1, 2. What is he gonna do when he goes to those planets? He's not gonna help anybody. He's just gonna loot. Like that's his character. He's still.
well,
Yeah, but
he
he's
was
super
already
smart,
there
too,
with them. So why wouldn't he help them when he's already there?
No, I'm just saying.
So
I'm just trying to make sense of
I know.
it.
I get what
Yeah.
you're saying, but I mean, I feel like in that particular moment there was no need for her
yeah,
in those scenes
I agree.
to go back in time.
Well, and personally, I'm just happy she didn't dominate the movie.
Yeah.
Like she
Because that was what we
Yeah.
thought after Captain Marvel. was they made her super strong.
Yeah,
super
she was
strong.
dominating
Like-
the movie.
I keep going.
Okay, sorry. So
Well, yeah, they go
Thor.
to get Thor, right? So for him to help. So they're trying to get everyone. I think they go to get Hawkeye first, don't they? Or is that after Thor?
No,
that's
it's
the
after.
last person to
That's
get
after,
taken.
Okay, so yeah, they go to get Thor, and this is supposed to be like the comedy relief, which I thought this was so. Hooded Freak said that the second worst part of the movie was Hulk. This to me was the number one.
I
worst
agree.
part.
This was the worst.
Which they go and find Thor, and he's like fat
And drunk.
and drunk
And plays Fortnite.
and plays Fortnite. Yeah,
some
with his
golems.
buddies. Yeah, I just. He looked horrible. He like take his shirt off. Now it was.
That was
funny.
the best part. Now, to me,
He looked like melted ice cream.
CGI,
He did look like melted ice
that
cream.
CGI and that fat suit they put him in is two of the greatest things I've ever seen.
I mean,
to
and
make
it's-
that man look like that, 'cause
it's
that man's got a
fine.
body
He
of a
looked
god.
like he had muscle on top of the
Yeah, he did. He had
so
that-
it looked stupid.
He looks like the characters we create in WWE sometimes, where they're fat but they still have muscle. You know, he's have that like six pack going on for him. But go ahead, sorry. Go
But yeah, so he's supposed to be like literally when you look at the whole movie or once he's like in it, and from there on, he's literally just comic relief.
Yeah, he
So
doesn't really do
he
shit.
goes from being like the badass that was like he's the main guy that's supposed to take down Thanos
He kills
to
him.
just nothing.
They
Like,
started him off by killing
Yeah.
Thanos, and then they gave him. This
and I
horrible
get
role.
like being depressed and all that stuff. Like I completely understand it, but dang man, like that kind of like not ruined the movie, but that was like the lowest point to me.
And then so also during that scene, so the Hulk and Rocket Raccoon, something we didn't cover. The Hulk and Rocket go and get him. They take a car to the new Asgard or whatever, and they find Hulk. And to me, it seemed like they were going to set up at least a fight between the Hulk and Thor, because he grabs him, and the Hulk is like, "Don't touch me, don't grab me," and throws his hand off of him. But then nothing happens from it. So to me, none of it made sense, because Rocket's like, "Oh, there's beer in the ship," and Thor's like, "Okay, I'm better, let's go." To me, the Hulk fighting Thor and maybe snapping him out of it may have been a little bit better and could have cut out the Fortnite crap, could have cut out some of the comic relief, and could have cut out the, "Oh, there's beer in the ship." How do you feel about that?
I mean, just bro, I didn't like it at all.
But do you think a fight between Thor and
I guess,
Hulk
yeah,
would
at
have
least
been a little better?
something, like anything but what actually happened.
No, because like the whole point of it was it went back to the Ragnarok movie, was that he helped Banner like work through his stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
like that was the whole point. Like like
personally,
hey, you help me. Like,
I didn't have an issue with it because I didn't mind the comic relief. This movie kind of needed a little bit of comic relief. And also, to me, from where the movie goes, we know we're going to have Thor and the Guardians moving forward. He's going to still be part of the universe. So to have him in this role kind of keeps the focus on the people that we're not going to have moving forward, which we'll talk about that a little bit later. But to me, I feel like it was good because it kept the focus on the characters that it needed to be focused on.
Okay.
So that's why I was okay with it.
but we talked about this off camera. There's no point in having his character develop more.
yeah,
To me,
that's what I'm
JP
saying.
thinks the opposite, but to me, you don't need his character to develop. He already had 3 movies.
Yeah.
And the highlight of his time was getting Stormbreaker and basically almost killing Thanos before the snap.
Yep.
So, like, you don't... Like, this whole, like, new fat Thor, you don't need a new, like, arc for his character.
So you don't think that this could
Like-
be a start to a spin-off movie called The Big Thorbowski? Nobody?
No, like,
No.
like I have to say, it was the
Horrible.
worst. Like, instantly, it was the worst part of the movie. Like, I was like, okay, cool. Whatever, he's fat. Whatever, he'll come back into
Yeah, I
shape.
thought that too.
And then, like, as we go through this review, you guys are going to know, he stays like that throughout the
whole
whole
movie.
entire
That's
movie.
it's pretty
There's
cool.
no point in this movie where he goes back to being sexy-ass Chris Hemsworth.
Sexy Chris.
He stays Big Lebowski Thor.
The whole time.
The whole entire movie.
Which again, the CGI and the fat suit they put that man in.
I just...
It looked amazing. You gotta admit.
Like,
that
I
looked-
get
it
that,
looked
but, like,
amazing.
you already had... Like, I get to have, like, the comic relief, but you also had Ant-Man, who was, like, funny throughout the whole movie as
War
well.
Machine with his little
Yeah, so,
one-liners.
like, you didn't need to have a fat character jokey. Like, and then they made Banner the same way almost. Like, they
Yeah.
made him, like, joking throughout the whole entire movie, too. So it was like...
So my
I
take
feel like
from
Thor
all
didn't
of
have to be
this-
like that the whole movie. That was my thing.
My take from all of this is you got to remember, it's been 5 years. So in 5 years, none of them have had a major threat. None of them had a fight. None of them had to go life-threatening, save the world. It's been 5 years. So, I mean, a lot of them are going to get doughy and downtime.
Well, no.
I mean,
His
it's
whole
gonna
thing was
happen.
he was depressed because he did not.
Yeah.
He failed.
Yeah.
So that's why all he did was end up kind of goes to what you're saying is like there was no threat, so he didn't need to be
They didn't need to be Thor.
the man. But it's also like, I get that. And like I say, I get the whole him being fat in the beginning. But you did not need 2 hours of this dude being fat.
He did nothing.
That was my thing. You didn't need 2 hours of him being fat. That was okay. Like, y'all can,
Like almost everything he said through the whole movie was funny.
yeah, everything. They were trying to explain the stone.
Yeah, so that's the next part. So, anybody want to touch base on what happens after they get Thor? Thor, hey, there's beer in the ship. Oh,
Well,
no.
then
Oh,
they
that
get
Ronan.
then they
Then
get
they
the
go get
dopest, one of the dopest characters in the whole movie to me.
I'm assuming Adrian has a rager for this, so why don't you
Dude,
go
this
ahead and tell
is
us
like
what happens.
the dopest part where like Scarlett Johansson goes to, is it Japan?
Yeah, it was Japan.
Yeah, she goes to Japan to go get Hawkeye, and he just looks freaking badass.
He's got a hood. He's got
He's
a
got a
mask.
dope sword.
Dope
He's
sword.
just freaking slicing people up.
And again, I know you can't cover everything, but they were saying the first time she talks to War Machine, they can't find him. And all of a sudden, just like that, oh, she found him. Nobody wants
Well,
to.
didn't they say something about how he was like doing?
He was
things
killing.
that-
Yeah,
he was killing people.
But War Machine couldn't find him. War Machine says, I cannot find him, but he's killing all these people.
Well,
He's
he was
killing,
in
he's killing
Mexico.
bad guys, yeah.
Yeah,
He followed him to Mexico, then he left again.
yeah.
So then she was like, find him. And then
I kind of feel like she kind of had an idea where
Yeah,
he was
she knew where he
all
was.
along, though, and she just didn't really want to track him down
Yeah.
until she had to.
She like didn't want to
Yeah.
see him the way he was or what he had turned into.
I think go ahead and finish what you were
he
saying.
turned
about
into
War
one of the
Machine.
dopest characters.
Yeah, I
in
mean, he
MCU,
just
and,
looks super dope. I
turned
mean,
into
that
Red
whole like scene, yeah,
much.
right. I mean, pretty much
Right.
the whole scene of them in Japan. He was just like doing his ninja thing, man.
That's
he
a
just
movie I wanna
looks.
see.
Yeah, I want to see that.
And again,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that would have been a perfectly...
That would've
like,
been great.
That would have been a great thing to have, like we discussed earlier, if that was the movie before.
Yeah,
Because, like, that was, like, the main thing was everybody was like, where the hell was he
Yeah.
in Infinity War? That would have been perfect
Yeah.
to say, well, this is where he was. He wasn't playing tag
He was
with his
just-
fucking friends.
killing people.
He was...
I don't know.
murdering
I mean, I'm
folks.
sure they
Yeah,
could figure
he's
out a way to
murdering.
do the movie, but I mean, the movie would be him just
and the
killing
movie would
people.
have to legit take right after
the family disappears.
Yeah, right after the family takes period, then you'd have to do his movie and then tie his movie in the Endgame. So that's probably why they didn't do it. It's probably a little too confusing. But yeah, and then we get back to the part where he's killing folks and they're showing it. I mean, he slices that dude's throat.
Yeah,
and
he's
they
just-
show that
yeah.
dude's throat getting sliced and he's
Merciful.
bleeding all over
Yeah.
the place. So is Disney trying to take this series or whatever series they keep, are they trying to take it more towards that risque level?
No, I
I
think
think-
JP was right. They were just pushing the envelope a little
Yeah,
bit.
Yeah,
exactly.
I honestly don't know if they're pushing the envelope for future movies. I
Yeah,
think
no.
the Russo brothers had a distinguished vision of
Yeah.
what they were doing, and Disney was like, "Go ahead," because like, look how much money those two guys have. 3 movies that are over the $1 billion mark.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
So
Billions.
like, I'm pretty sure Disney wasn't like, "Oh no, don't do this or don't do that." They were probably just like, "Finish it,
Yeah,
finish,
Disney's like-
do whatever you want, finish your stuff." You know, like,
Money.
because think about all the movies that are coming out through Disney after this movie. You have Lion King, you have Aladdin, you have all these movies that go back to not really having like deaths, like major deaths. You know, so.
You guys can't see what's happening on screen, but the dog is destroying
Lilo
this
is
little.
destroying
She's destroying Thanos.
her
apparently.
hedgehog. But I mean, yeah, it was adult. It was definitely an adult thing, and they had a lot of cussing in it.
Yeah, there was a lot of
So
cussing. in
it was a completely different type of Marvel Avenger movie. So
So she gets Hawkeye.
it was awkward.
She gets Red Hood.
Awkward
Red
pause.
Hood Eye. She gets him.
She get Red Hood.
They go back and Gabe, what happens when they get back? After they grab Hawkeye and they head back to the Avenger Tower.
What happens?
They start talking about the stone.
Yes. So they're trying to figure out where all the stones are in the certain period of time. So they're basically the whole thing is they're like this is where it was annoying too. So they tell Thor to explain the ether stone. And he's like, well, it's not really ether. It's more of a liquid goo blah blah blah, blah. And like he's talking, but like at first when they're like, okay, Thor, what do you got on it? He's like sleeping with his hand in his pants.
Oh yeah.
And he's just like, so, and then they're explaining it. They're trying to show where all the stones go or were in the like certain periods of time because all of them have actually had an encounter with the stone at some point in the history. Mm-hmm. So, and if you watch all the 22 or 21 movies before this movie,
which they did that in theaters, you had the chance to watch them all. It was 14 and a half hours long.
Yeah,
there's
if
no
you
way.
watch it, if you go back and you watch it, they all had an encounter with the stone, like at one point, and end up finding out that 3 stones were in New York around the same exact time.
And that's the time stone, the one that's in the time stone, what's the one in the Tesseract?
It's
Is
the
that the-
blue. That's the space.
Yeah.
Space stone.
And then the power stone isn't the one that's
No,
in
the power stone is the one with Quill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Quill has the power stone.
the one that's in the scepter's the other one.
Yeah,
That's not the mind stone, is it?
I think
No,
it
'cause-
might be.
Or
it might be the
in
Mind Stone
Vision?
because I
Yeah.
think
Yeah, because it is a mind
Yeah.
stone because he touches them and he passes out. So those 3 stones are the ones that are in New York at that time.
So let me ask you guys. Okay, well, so then they figure out what all the time periods are, and then thus starts the time travel.
It's a segment of the movie.
Yes. Okay. Now let me ask you guys this. So, do you think that there was a point in going back in time and stealing the stone that was on Jarvis's head instead of just going back to a period where he was alive and saying, "Hey, I need that"? Does that
Yeah,
did that cross anybody's
No,
mind?
it didn't
So
cross
like
my
they had to go
mind.
back and steal them all, but they had one with them the whole entire time.
Yeah, but he wasn't
before Thanos was even a thing, though.
But Vision wasn't alive during that when they went back and stole the scepter. The scepter's where his stone is.
I know,
The
but that's what I'm saying.
scepter's
But
in
why
that
did they have
stone.
to? That's what I'm saying. Why did they have to go back and steal it?
Because they only have the one jump and then the one back. So they couldn't go back to get the Tesseract and the other stone, the time stone from the girl, and then go to Vision. They only had the one shot where all 3 of them were together, and then they had to go back. So they
I
couldn't.
thought they all
travel.
had.
They only had
No,
one.
they all had one thing.
One to
Every
get there
character
and one to
had
go
one
back.
thing where they could go in time or before back in time and then back to
Yes,
time.
they could have.
So they could have done that.
one.
It was
character,
one. It was
yeah.
one to go back in time and then one to get back. That's why when they, which we're touching more base, when Captain America and Iron Man go to the 70s, Captain America had to go steal more pin particles because they couldn't get back. So they only had the one time to get there and then to go back. That's all they had. They couldn't leave again.
But each character had one time that they could go.
oh, you're
back in
saying
time
one,
and
you're
forward.
saying one character could
Yeah.
have went.
Yes,
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
I
Like,
get you.
like,
They wanted to group up.
yeah.
Pretty much. They pretty much want to group up. It's Nicole.
Yes, Nicole, agreed. She says the whole getting the stones, different timelines thing, and different branches stuff was too messy for me, kind of annoying.
But that's what like
Yeah,
when
the
you-
time travel thing
When
was
we
dumb.
get forward more into the movie, they will be able to just be like, okay, because it didn't make much sense to me.
But time travel in any movie is really hard to do. It's impossible.
I'm gonna have
dude.
JP say this because when we watched it the second time, okay, we were waiting for a particular point, what we'll get to in a second with the time travel, but Hulk actually kind of explains it.
Yeah, I remember that part.
Before, not during the time where he's talking to that I think you're thinking of when he goes to get the time stone.
Yeah, she shows him the time thing.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
not
okay.
that. He actually explains
He
it
explains
before
it
that.
Before that, yeah.
And we didn't catch that the first time. We caught it the second time because when it happened, I was like, he just literally explained. Like, so go ahead, JP. You do this better. I can't.
So basically, what he says is when you travel back in time, you don't change the future because your future or the future becomes your past because you already lived it. So, and then once you get back there, you can create your future again because you're back in time.
Well, that's gonna
So-
eliminate my next question.
Instead of basically her whole explanation where she lays out that line and she says you're creating a separate universe, what they're doing is instead of creating a separate universe, it's looping back onto itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he
That-
puts him back to puts him back
Exactly.
to where it was, so nothing
So
changes.
Well, no, but the way Hulk explains is that instead of creating a separate universe, you would just loop back onto the previous one and continue from that point.
Yeah.
So,
So are you saying you still can't? So the future won't change?
well, the
Because
future
in the past, so during the scene where they go to New York, they're getting he talks about the time stone. He tries to get the time stone. They're trying to get the Tesseract, and they're trying to get the scepter from Loki. They ended up messing up the Tesseract part. And Loki gets a Tesseract, and he's gone. So is that not going to change Loki's future?
It is. I believe it is.
But how's that possible if you're just looping back onto it? This is where time travel gets really, really
Well,
hard.
Well, no,
They
like, don't get me wrong.
I get
Even
what
though
you're
we
saying.
kind of heard this part,
Right.
Even with
There's-
the explanation, it
there's-
still doesn't make a whole lot of
Yeah,
Yeah,
sense.
because
there's
they gave themselves rules and then they broke them at the same time.
Instantly broken.
Like they tried to explain it like, oh, these are the rules, and then as the movie went along, they broke them all, and then the rules didn't make
Well,
no sense.
there's
Well,
one in particular, and we'll get to that towards the
yeah.
end.
But I think the whole point
there's-
of it was though that they like because they kept referencing like, oh, time travel in all these other movies is like this, and I think that's why
They changed it.
it was like completely changed because they weren't trying to be like all
because
the
they were
other
trying to
time
set their own rules.
yeah, they were trying to is the key word.
Yeah, this argument with time travel, it could take us. another
Nichols is
3
correct. The
3
time right
hours.
is no longer linear, but how they showed it all seems sloppy to me, and we agree.
Yeah,
There's
it's
like
hard.
when we discuss more, we'll talk about that too. So
It's very hard.
honestly, I would say the third coolest part of the movie to me, and when we get to those other two, you'll know. But I think the third part of the movie that was the coolest was them going back to these timelines where it was old movies.
Yeah, that was cool.
That
Especially
was so
Captain America's was the best one.
Yeah, it was.
So we're in New York now, so let's just talk about New York because that's the first one that we get
Yes.
to is the whole New York. So once again, in New York, they're trying to get the time stone from the wizard chick. They're trying to get the
If
space
you watch
stone
Doctor Strange,
and
the
the mind stone.
main Supreme Leader lady
Yeah,
is
Nobody-
where she has the time stone because this is all before Doctor Strange is even Doctor Strange.
Now that's the part that bothers me too. They're supposed to be the defenders of space and time, and she's there fighting those monsters. And I get it in the first movie, but first movie you never see her.
yeah,
She's,
well,
so
that's
she's
the whole
just-
point.
She's there
Like,
helping, but not helping.
But see, this is the thing. This is why I thought it was super cool because it was almost like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So like you saw clips of crap that
Yeah.
you didn't see in the actual movie.
Right.
So like a good example is when they go to get the blue one, the Tesseract one.
That's right.
After they get Loki and they're like, they have their iconic scene of showing all of them together for the first time. And Loki's like, I'll have that drink, and then they put him in handcuffs. It shows further,
Yeah.
like beyond that. Because in the regular movie, it ends,
Yeah.
and then the end credit sees them eating shawarma at that place. But this actually goes further on into that.
Okay, that makes sense. So we see Hulk go to her. She won't give it to him, of course, but she already knows what's going on. She already knows the plan. She knows who Doctor Strange is. I mean, because she's all knowing and all seeing. So she hits the Hulk and breaks him free of his.
And that part was crazy.
breaks him
That
free
part
of
was
his-
cool.
Yeah, that part was cool.
Where she punches him out of his chest.
Yeah.
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 What is that projectile? Whatever.
She
it's
like
called.
breaks his spirit out of the Hulk
There you
body.
go.
Yeah.
There you go. And now he is Bruce Banner. While the Hulk is just chilling in sunglasses and a flower hat. So he's Bruce Banner. He's trying
Which,
to
I'm
get
sorry, I was happy that all happened.
That was it. That part was
I
good.
needed to see freaking Mark Ruffalo as Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
It-
I think
At least
that's one of the
once,
reasons-
yeah.
I think that's probably the reason they did it. Was like, okay, we needed him to at least be in here. So then we see Iron Man and Ant-Man are teaming up to try to get the Tesseract. So Iron Man's walking down,
Iron Man, Ant-Man, and
Captain
Captain
America
all
went
go
for
to
the-
New York.
yeah.
So, yeah. Let's,
and the Hulk. They're all in New York
Yes.
together. So Captain America went to go get the staff, which we find out is in Hydra's hands, which we kind of knew, but, going into it. Hydra takes it over. He gets that, which I thought that was a dope part because they enter the elevator just like in the Captain
Yeah.
America movie.
yeah, that's actually...
I thought there was going to be a fight scene. And then,
That's an ode. And I think everybody did.
Yeah.
I got excited because that fight scene was amazing.
yeah,
that
that
fight
fight
scene's
scene
one
was
of the best fight scenes of any
But
of
it
the
was an
movies.
ode to the comic book of him
But
saying...
we almost got a better fight scene out of it.
Yes, we did, but we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But, as Nicole said in the comments, Hail Hydra.
Hell,
Yeah.
Hydra.
He tells them that he got his mission is different to protect the Tesseract, and they're like, "What?" Let me call the director. He's like, "No need." He's like, he's like, "Don't worry about it." And then he tells the dude, "Hell Hydra," and then they believe him, and then he goes.
And
And
then
he
you-
already knew it all
Yeah,
happened.
If
that
you,
was
if
cool.
you notice, the people in that elevator with him are the ones he fights in the elevator.
Yeah,
in the movie.
yeah.
They're the exact same guys.
And they were like about to grab their gun and all that. So I was like, "Oh snap!"
yeah, I was all
It's
damn
about to go
get-
down.
Yeah.
All I was waiting for him to say was, "Does anybody want to get out?"
Yeah, that part was dope.
Okay, but before that, the reason why JP brought up a good the next fight scene is because Iron Man is watching them watching them in the Avenger Tower,
Yeah.
and he's making a joke to Captain America saying that outfit
Yeah.
didn't do anything. For
Oh,
his-
yeah.
his butt.
Ass.
And Ant-Man, he goes, Ant-Man goes as far as like, don't listen to him. As far as I'm concerned, that's America's ass.
It's America's ass, people. America's ass.
So then Ant-Man and Iron Man continue.
Yeah, so Ant-Man and Iron Man, and remember the whole time, when Iron Man says that, Ant-Man's with Iron Man the whole time. He shrunk down to a little minuscule thing, and he's with Iron Man. So when they're saying the thing about the flattering butt, Ant-Man's with him. So they wound up getting downstairs to try to get the Tesseract, which is in a case. So Iron Man, the old Iron Man, is walking down the stairs, and they get interrupted by people who are trying to take the Tesseract. Which I think is the senator, whoever it is, senator trying to take the Tesseract from him. And they get into an argument, and Ant-Man's job is to go into Iron Man's chest, and this is confusing as hell to try to explain. Goes into Iron Man's chest and wants to pull out the arc reactor that is keeping his heart at this time because he doesn't have the
I think
surgery.
he pulls like just like a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's what's keeping
a
it's
pin,
his
yeah.
heart from having the shrapnel into his heart or whatever it is. So it's just the pin, and Iron Man goes into cardiac arrest. They end up getting the Tesseract. Iron Man's walking away. Hulk kind of take the stairs because his big butt doesn't fit in the elevator, so he's pissed off about the stairs.
That part was
Charges
funny.
through
I'm
the
sorry.
door,
Like,
hits Iron Man in the head, dropped Iron Man, the Iron Man who's still in the Tesseract, gets hit by the Hulk coming down the stairs. He drops the Tesseract into Loki's hands, and then what happens?
Loki vanishes.
Loki grabs the Tesseract, and he disappears
disappears.
with not only the Space Stone, but the Tesseract and
Which
Loki's
they
hand.
opened it up for his
For Loki coming back.
his solo show that he's gonna have
Yeah.
on Disney Plus.
And Loki not being dead now. So
Yeah.
Loki's apparently not going to be dead and die from Thanos.
Right.
So that's the biggest problem is if Loki doesn't die on that ship, and this is where time travel gets dumb. So if Loki's gone, he doesn't die now. He doesn't die on that ship. Does everything still take place on that ship? Because Loki was a big part of that.
Well, no,
part
that
of the
never all
ship.
happened.
Yeah, that just didn't even
That
happen.
never happened.
So now that never happened. So that just gets
That's,
completely
that's what I'm saying. Like, none of it really made sense.
It does. Time travel is hard. Once again, time travel is the hardest thing to do, and it's impossible. So Loki. This is
Loki
apparently alive.
goes. Yeah, Loki goes.
Captain America gets the scepter, walks out the elevator, and runs into none other than
Young Captain America.
Captain
I'm sorry, but
America.
this
Now-
may have been. Okay, I gotta take this back. So 4 was them going back in time to those other movies. 3 has to be Captain America seeing Captain America.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
that,
that whole scene was dope.
That
that
scene
part was
funny.
awesome.
was
Captain
amazing.
America had a lot of.
Oh, he was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he was amazing.
It's Chris Evans, man. He can't. So they start fighting, and the funniest part to me was when the young Captain America looks at the old Captain America and goes, "I can do this all day," and he goes, "I know you can."
I know you can.
I know.
That part was great. So they end up fighting.
They ended up having a really decent fight.
It was a
Yeah,
good fight.
it was a decent
It
fight.
was
I wish
quick,
it was
but it was
longer.
good. Yeah,
I
wish it
kind of
was
wanted
longer.
more from
Yes,
it.
I wish it was longer, but it was good for what it was. Like,
And then we get
and then the Tesseract breaks out of the box.
Well, first they're fighting on a little scaffold. They fall off the scaffold. He drops the picture of Maria Carter, which he has in a little clock, and then the young Captain America grabs it.
Yeah, I saw it.
The young Captain America's like, "How did you get this?" And he kind of gets thrown off, and that's when they scuffle. Then the Tesseract's
Yeah,
out.
so then the Tesseract comes out.
Or not the Tesseract, the scepter. The scepter.
Yeah, the scepter. Sorry, I want to say this part because it makes me laugh. So that's why I keep interrupting that. I apologize. So he ends up getting it, or no, he's getting choked out by the young Captain America. And the young Captain America then, the older one says Bucky's alive, and he lets him go like, what? He grabs the scepter and he puts him to sleep.
Yeah.
So as he put him to sleep, the young Captain
face
America
down.
folds over, and old Captain America gets up, and he's like, and then he kind of like looks down, and he goes, "That is America." And then he walks off screen. I was like, "This is the greatest thing ever created."
Yeah, that was funny.
And I was like saying this to like JP and everybody out, like outside the movie. Like, I feel like that was an inside joke.
Yeah.
Like it had to
must
be
have-
because it
it
was
must have
so
been
random to
something.
be just thrown in there, but it was so perfect.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it
It
was
was.
so good.
It's probably something they joke about behind the scenes.
Yeah,
We
like it
gotta
had
do
to
this
be.
movie.
Like
It's gotta go.
so. Yeah, that was great. Like that is America.
That is America.
He just walks off. Like I could go all day. I know.
Anybody want to cover what happens next?
So Captain America comes outside, and then he sees Ant-Man and Tony Stark in a vehicle just sitting. And Tony Stark basically says, like, yeah, got a problem.
We got a
Like,
big
we messed up. So Ant-Man goes on this, like, super funny like rant.
Yeah, dude.
He's like, stop repeating everything I'm saying. Stop repeating everything I'm saying. Like he yells it at like 3 times, which is funny. But so then Tony Stark remembers that 2 of the stones were together at one period in time, which it doesn't really explain.
Well,
It's not two of the stones.
It's stones and more pin particles.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
That's what it is, yeah.
So
It's a space stone. and
but
the
my whole
pepper.
thing is, how did he know the stone was there if he wasn't alive?
He says don't ask me how I know it's there. So
Well,
his dad
When
must
he
have said
gets
something.
there, we find out that his dad's there.
His dad.
Yeah.
So it has to be something to do with his dad, is why he knows, yeah.
Because he
So-
says don't ask me how, but I know they're there.
So the whole thing is they go back in time to when Captain America was in the Lilo, come here.
Lilo wants to join the review.
So they go back to when Captain America was in his army base, right? Mm-hmm. So
Yeah, this is
and then-
1940s or 70s.
Yes.
70s, I think they said.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think it's 70s.
So yeah, and then they go back in time, and then Captain
some
steals
heartwarming parts.
more of the solution.
Pin particles.
Pin particles to travel in time again, and Iron Man goes to the basement of a what is that? It's like a bunker,
Yeah,
and that's where the Tesseract is, and that's how he gets the Tesseract.
Yep. So
And-
Iron Man winds up going down there, getting the Tesseract, and then he looks over his shoulder, and we see none other than, which I thought again, the CGI they do in a lot of this stuff is pretty good, but a young Howard Stark.
Yeah, like I will say, for a time travel movie, the way they did old school characters to make them look young and stuff like that was amazing. Like their special effects was
Because Michael Douglas was also in this part,
Yes.
and he looked amazing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Michael did look good. So one quick thing. So why every time they're in their like travel suits, their faces or heads were CGI to the body?
Well,